Hi, this is Lisa Kelly, Notre Dame author and class of 1993, and you are watching the Two Irish Brothers show. Cheers and go Irish.
Here's Zbikowski trying to get to the outside. He has blockers in front. Tom Zbikowski, Malone to beat, shakes him off to the 5 and a touchdown.
What's up, everyone? I am Sean Moriarty.
I am Benjamin Walters.
And this is the Two Irish Brothers show, brought to you by Dubby Energy Drink. You guys know the drill. Hit the subscribe tab in the bottom right-hand corner. Like or dislike the video, and give us some love. Hit the bell icon so you're always notified when we come out with a new video. And with that said, Ben, that week has arrived. The highly anticipated week of the college football season for Notre Dame fans. It is Ohio State week.
Mm-hmm.
And already the fun has just gotten underway. I never like to put everybody into the same category, stereotype, whatever, if you will. But things starting to get a little heated already. I had an Ohio State fan send me a message suggesting that my mother perform a sex act with an actual Buckeye nut. So that gives me an idea of what this week is going to be.
Mm-hmm. No love.
That's all I'm going to say. I'm not going to go into specifics. Absolutely not. And real quick, I know you've said this before, but how long did you live in Columbus for?
16. Well, just about 16 years.
So you got a bunch of crap all the time.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Any interesting stories before we get into this week's action?
Nah, not too many interesting stories. I mean, no, it's.
Well, you know what? That's what the viewers are waiting for.
Right. No, I mean, I was, that was when I was a kid, so there wasn't too much of,
I will say I did see on TV a food show once that there is this awesome burger joint near the campus that makes ridiculous burgers. I just forget the name of it. But so there's one good thing about Columbus for sure.
Yeah.
Just a joke, people. Relax. So with that said, Ben, I know you had the chance to watch the game yesterday after your obligations and all that. We put away Central Michigan 41-17.
Yep.
But got off to a slow start there, which I know concerned a lot of Notre Dame fans, especially that it's now Ohio State week.
Right.
So the chatter's going on amongst our own fan base about, it's kind of back and forth. There's some concern. There's some confidence. I myself prefer the confidence route. But let's face it, no matter what side of the aisle you're on, this is going to be a tough matchup. I mean, that's a given. We know that.
This game will come down to, whoever makes the least amount of mistakes is going to win this game. That's the bottom line. There will be no blowout in this game on either side. This will be a one possession victory for either Ohio State or Notre Dame. We hope Notre Dame, obviously.
Well,
but, this game is going to be a humdinger, and everybody knows what Ohio State is. Not everybody knows what Notre Dame is. That's the intriguing part of this game. Who is Notre Dame? What is the identity so far?
I mean, we've seen glimpses of what it could be. We've even despite the inconsistency, we have an idea, but you're kind of right when you say that. We don't know for sure yet, because of the inconsistencies.
Yeah.
Can this team put it all together to beat a big time opponent and beat an opponent that we haven't beaten since the 30s?
Yep. Yeah.
So I get it. Of course I can't blame people for having concern. I mean, the way we got off against Central Michigan, it was kind of worrying for sure. It's like you're letting this small MAC team push you around a little bit. I mean, that's not good. Yeah. And I can tell you one thing, we can't have that happen in this game against Ohio State. They will take advantage of it and they will shove it down our throats, and that'll cost us dearly if we do that. But yeah, I mean, this is that game that gives us a chance to show the world, like, hey, we're legit. We're back. Don't treat us as a pushover. Don't treat us as a team that just wins a bunch of games, but then blows in the big opportunities. That's something we have to change. And we've seen that happen with Notre Dame. We've seen Notre Dame win some big games.
Yeah.
We saw them beat number 1 Clemson in 2020. Despite what people say about that, it was a big win.
Yep.
They came through against Clemson last year when everybody was projecting us to get blown out after that embarrassing loss to Stanford the week before. And I'm not going to lie, I don't see that happening against Ohio State. But, of course, I would love it if we got like a 25, 26, 27 point win. But I'm not anticipating that, of course.
No.
I'm not going to get arrogant. I'm not going to get cocky.
You don't go into a game of this magnitude with the insane storylines that we have in this game thinking that Notre Dame is going to win by 27 points.
Well, of course. I'm just saying I would love it if that happened.
Oh, of course. I mean, who in the Notre Dame fan base wouldn't? Oh, wait. I know who wouldn't. But I digress.
So, yeah, right.
Yeah,
so
we know what we have in Ohio State. That's the thing. We have a team that has been a gold standard for the last 20 years. Since 2000, this team has always been in a hunt or the hunt for a national championship every season. And their down season is most teams' best season. That's a fact. And they're kind of in a little bit of an identity crisis themselves because they don't know who exactly they have at quarterback. Obviously, they're undefeated. Obviously, they have gotten better with each game. But they scored 23 points against Indiana, 35 against Youngstown State, and then 63 against Western Kentucky, which was incredible. But as each game has passed, they've also given up a little more. 3 points given up to Indiana, 7 points given up to Youngstown State, and then 10 points given up to Western Kentucky. So it's intriguing. It's very intriguing to see who the Buckeyes are going to be this season. Obviously, dropping 63 on Western Kentucky is impressive. As a person who went to Western Kentucky, I am biased. But I will tell you that this Western Kentucky team should only have one loss this season, and that is to Ohio State. And the fact that Ohio State did what they did to them is pretty impressive, in my opinion. And that was the best team that Ohio State has played all season so far. Western Kentucky would beat Indiana and Youngstown State, no problem. But how will their quarterback play go against Notre Dame? Because this will be the best defense that they've seen this year. Not in the last couple of years, but this year. This Notre Dame defense will be the best defense that they have seen.
Yeah, to this point, absolutely. Absolutely.
You know who you have in the wide receiver core with Ohio State. You know who the running back is. You know who their tight ends are. But their quarterback is their weakest link currently. Now, we've seen what Ohio State has done in the past. We've seen it. We've seen C.J. Stroud. We've seen Braxton Miller. We've seen
Justin Fields.
Cordell Jones. Justin Fields. We've seen it. Every quarterback at Ohio State has done well. And the quarterbacks who have transferred away have done well too. Obviously, Joe Burrow is one of the biggest examples. But this will be a very interesting matchup with their quarterback. Because both quarterbacks currently in McCord and Brown have played all 3 games. Believe it or not.
Mm-hmm. It just doesn't look like that Devin Brown's done a ton of passing.
Yeah. McCord is clearly the passer of the two. And obviously the number one dude on that offense is Marvin Harrison Jr. I mean,
Yep.
everybody knows that. The stats don't lie. He has 304 yards to the next best on that roster at 167. So,
well, I mean, the tree doesn't the
apple doesn't fall far.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
The apple doesn't fall
when it comes to Marvin Harrison Jr.
Yes. But yeah, the biggest thing for Notre Dame, and I think you'll agree with me here, is the defense has to go. The defense has to get it going. Notre Dame's offense can keep pace. Hartman has shown that. And the wide receiver core and the running back room has shown that they can score. But can the defense on Notre Dame keep up with this high-powered Buckeye offense? That's going to be the big key in this game.
Well, and like I said to start the video, we got off to a slow start against Central Michigan. Thankfully, it didn't come back to bite us in the ass, but we cannot get off to that slow start like we did against Central Michigan when we play Ohio State, because we can't have. Let me just put it to you this way: the pressure has been great. The problem has been finishing it off, which we haven't done too well as of late, pretty much to this point in the season. The missed tackles were atrocious, and basically what it comes down to is what Marcus Freeman said in his post-game press conference: as long as we don't beat Notre Dame, we're going to be fine.
Yeah,
and he's right. That's what they've been doing. They've been. I mean, we're 4-0. We've had 40+ points in every single game this season, but they've made some mistakes that have killed themselves. It's been, especially on defense, it's been mental mistakes, missed tackles, stupid penalties, not finishing plays off like you should, and that has to change this week. Because if we actually think that we can get away with that against Ohio State, then you better put us in straight jackets and put us in the nut house right now, because we're not going to do that. We are not going to get away with these mistakes that we know Ohio State will take advantage of.
Yeah.
So that's what worries me the most is our defense. Can they make the adjustments? Can they finish plays? Can they, keep it together up here? So Al Golden better get this team ready to go.
Yeah. Well, and let me ask you this. Let's and this goes out to the viewers too. Do you think that Notre Dame takes a page out of Michigan's playbook? And the reason I say that is because Michigan has been the only team in the last really 2 seasons against Ohio State that has actually pushed them around. When you look at scores and you look at stats,
intrigued when you asked
Georgia, it took everything Georgia had to beat Ohio State in that opening round of the playoffs last season. Michigan did better against Ohio State, if you want to get technical, than Georgia did. So does Notre Dame take a page out of that playbook? Because the last 2 times that Michigan and Ohio State have played each other, Michigan has not allowed more than 27 points to Ohio State. 24 last season, 27 the season before. Both victories, almost 20-point victories by Michigan in both games. So do we go and look at Michigan's defense and go, hey, they keyed in on this. This is what these are the positions that they were keying in on. They were running this kind of play format. Does Marcus Freeman and Al Golden go to that?
It's a good question. I mean, obviously they're going to be watching a lot of film this week from a lot of different things. Could that be one of them? Absolutely. If you're looking for my opinion on that, I don't think it would hurt. It certainly wouldn't hurt to see what Michigan's been doing against them the past few years, especially if you find some kind of advantage. But I think what it's really going to come down to is you just have to just punch them in the mouth, essentially, clean up the mistakes. And, I know it's easier said than done, but it's a pretty simple, the concept itself is pretty simple. And the thing is, Marcus Freeman said this a lot in his first season last year, and we got sick of it after a while, saying we need to execute. Well, I'm saying it too. Yes, we have to execute. And the thing is, the team has been executing, but it all goes back to what I've been saying. I can't say this enough. You have to finish it once you start executing.
Mm-hmm. You can hit that hole, but you got to make the tackle in the hole.
Yes.
When you're blitzing,
Exactly.
you have to finish the play. Yeah. I mean, and that'll be what makes and breaks this game. Honestly. I mean, and that goes for Ohio State too. That's not just a Notre Dame thing. I mean, this will be a high scoring game. People better get ready for that. This is not going to be a 21-10 victory for Ohio State or Notre Dame. This is going to be a very high scoring game. This is going to be a shootout. That's that's how game.
That could very well be the case. And listen, I have the stats pulled up. You have them up too. We could go over the numbers all day long. But is there really a point to doing that? I mean, we know what both these teams can do. I mean, yeah, okay. If you really want to go break it down, Kyle McCord, quarterback, almost 70% completion percentage, 815 yards, 6 touchdowns, 1 pick. TreVeyon Henderson, 191 yards on 30 carries with 4 touchdowns. Marvin Harrison Jr., 14 catches, 304 yards, 3 touchdowns. We know what we're up against. We know what we're up against in this game. And obviously Ohio State's defense hasn't been bad either. I mean, let's see who their leading tackler is.
There's a reason they call it overboard defense.
Yes. Tommy Eichelberg, linebacker. Ohio State's always had a reputation for linebackers, but 20 tackles. Steele Chambers, a linebacker, leads the way in interceptions. But listen, we know it's going to be a dogfight. We know that. We know what we're getting ourselves into. But it just all comes down to
execution
on the offense. I'm not worried about, because as long as Sam Hartman is protected and that offensive line doesn't give, we're going to be okay.
Mm-hmm.
We have a slew of running backs to choose from. The receiving core has been great, so I'm not worried about our offense. It's the defense that I'm focusing on here. Mm-hmm. But of course, if you have both that aren't executing, then that's going to be a problem. But specifically on defense, we have to be able to get the pressure, and not just get the pressure, but find a way to do it without blitzing every time.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Finish off the plays. And yeah, when it comes to Ohio State's receiving core, especially Marvin Harrison Jr., guys like Benjamin Morris and Cam Hart, Clarence Lewis, DJ Brown, you guys better be on your game. You better be like Deion Sanders out there. I mean, there was a reason that Deion Sanders had that poster years ago that said, the world is 2/3 water. Deion covers the rest, or something like that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So you better play to that level, because this is you're going to be in for a dogfight.
Yeah.
So another thing too, Ben, and I just want to get this out of the way. I don't know what the stadium's going to look like, but I hope it's what Will said. It better not be red. I mean, Will that does the post game with us, he's confident it's going to be 85% Notre Dame.
Hope so.
I hope so too, but I have my doubts. I'm sorry, but I do.
Why?
So to all Notre Dame fans who have a ticket to this game, you better go in there and support that team. And don't
you have to sell to a Notre Dame fan. Do not sell to Ohio State.
Yes, if you truly care about this team, you either go to the game or you sell to another Notre Dame fan. And I'm going to leave the rant there.
Yeah.
But with that said, Ben, the important part of any video, especially for this game, score predictions.
Mm-hmm.
So this is what I think is going to happen. I think you had the honors last week.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
Okay. I'll take the first shot this week. I agree. I don't think it's going to be a blowout. If it does become a blowout, I'll love it. I'll enjoy it. But I don't think that's going to be the case. I think that this game is going to be one of those heart attack games that is going to drive us nuts, because we'll both be down at your place watching it together.
Mm-hmm.
So I think what's going to happen is this is going to be tied coming into the final possession. Notre Dame gets that final possession. They score a touchdown. Final score, Notre Dame 38, Ohio State 31.
Okay.
I think it comes down to the final possession.
I like it. Mine's going to be a little bit more of a heart attack. Okay.
Oh, shut up. Damn it.
I say that this is going to be the game, like I said earlier in this video. It's going to be a high-scoring game. I'm sorry. This is how it's going to be. It's going to be a shootout. It's going to be like TCU in Colorado. Notre Dame wins 45-42 in walk-off fashion, and Notre Dame stays undefeated, but this game will be nuts.
Well, all I know is if it turns out to be that, at least thank you for giving me notice to write my last will and testament now instead of later. Well, there we go. There we go. That's it. Nothing left but the game itself.
Mhm.
And pretty cool that game day is going to be there for this one.
Well, how could you not? I mean,
Yeah, I haven't seen the schedule yet, but what other game on this week's schedule compares to that?
That's a good question that we will have to save for later because I do not know the answer to that.
Yeah.
But there isn't one that's going to compare because you got 2 top 10 teams and the historicalness between both of them and stuff. So
We
and
got
the
to beat this team.
the implications of this game. This is a game where, depending on what goes on for the rest of the season, this could be the game that makes or breaks either team's season and gets them into the college football playoff.
Yeah, I agree.
If everything goes as planned for both teams. So, yeah, we'll see.
It's definitely going to be a big time resume builder too. So, got to keep that in mind as well.
Mhm.
So, with that said, everyone, we've covered everything that we have to say. Now we just wait for the game. And as I said, Ben and I will be watching it together. So, on that note, everyone, I am Sean Moriarty.
I am Benjamin Walters.
And as we always say, good night, God bless, and go Irish.
Go Irish. Beat Ohio State.